with that note out from Merrill's recently, upgrading the likes of Anglo Platinum, target price there of 1,050. They had Impala Platinum build at 275 at a target price, and Anglo American at 450. How do you respond to these views? They're pretty bullish on those
Very
stocks.
bullish, and what's interesting, Bronwyn, is that certainly you almost get the feeling that the offshore guys are chasing any sort of commodity play that there is. Very bullish on their prices. I mean, 30-40% higher on some of them, where the local guys are far more cautious. So it's quite a big divergence between the bottom line of the analysts and the top line.
What does it mean when we get this divergence in the market? I mean, certainly it's going to lead to further volatility.
Absolutely, and you're seeing what's happening today. I mean, we've had about a 400-500 point range by the time I left the office on a fairly quiet day. So volatility continuing. I mean, you and I have spoken of this for months. You know, the theme at the moment is just volatility, and it's continuing, and such diverse views. What we got to grapple with as an investor in South Africa, you know, strong rands. We own problem with Eskom, with this and with platinum prices hitting new highs. I mean, today another classic day. Platinum came off about $40 from its highs. Anglo Platinum up almost 3.5% at some stage. So
yeah, close 2.5% to the top of the just about to the top of the top 40.
Very difficult to dissect, and that is right on the back of a trading update, which a lot of people issued, as I said, some notes out and quite cautious going forward. Some people looking at exactly the same note and forecasting a price 30% higher.
Would you short the market at the moment?
I certainly think that 28,000 is probably a little bit pricey. I think I don't know if I don't think we're going to get an all fall down. You know, I think we're going to probably have listening to Judy as well, a bit of consolidation in some of these stocks. You know, for me, it's very much, you know, where are we in the world at the moment? The numbers that have been coming out from about 7 days ago with the non-farm payrolls that came out on that Friday.
Of course, disappointed. 85,000
They were disappointing. Alcoa on the Monday was disappointing. JP Morgan's disappointing. Certainly Citigroup this afternoon, you might have been on air. They also missed. Also disappointing. You know, a lot of what's happened in the past, the theme has been, look, we know these are backward-looking numbers. Let's move forward. You know, now we really want to see the earnings feeding through to the bottom line. Do they justify a lot of these elevated stock prices that have gone up 100%? Some of them have doubled since the lows of March. And I guess the feeling is no. Are we in the same place as before Lehman's crashed? Definitely not. The world is not as sweet spot as it was. So I think caution, and I think a few people definitely. I think the broader market, you could probably play the short side.
SAB today came out with an update saying that beer volumes globally were flat. Market was expecting around about 1%. At one stage, SAB was under quite a bit of pressure, closed down 1 1/3% at 214 Rand 50. Again, indications that perhaps the consumer is not that healthy.
Absolutely. I mean, you have to look at what they were doing in Africa. Their growth in China also a bit disappointing. Again, that's another counterbrand that's had a good run. I mean, that stock was trading, you know, 180, 170 a month or two ago. Went up to highs at over 220. Back to it is probably due a little bit of consolidation as well. But also feeding through that, as you said, the consumer, certainly onshores and offshore and emerging markets in the space that they play, certainly raises some questions. I mean, emerging markets, as some commentators think that's our, you know, the saving grace at the moment. Well, certainly on the bottom line, they're battling there too.
We had the ZU report out today, and that, of course, also disappointed out of Germany. Again, showing that the Europe or the Eurozone is in trouble. And, of course, UK inflation numbers came out, and the highest month-on-month jump in record.
Yeah, I mean, looking at Eurozone, they've got problems. I mean, not only have they got the problems with Greece, as we all know about, problems with Ireland, you're having their own problems with property. Well, then we've got to grapple with what do you do with the United Kingdom? I mean, you've got rates close to zero. You've got inflation certainly not looking very pretty. I think 2.8 year-on-year number. Month-on-month expecting 0.3, came up 0.6. You know, double worse than expected. So stuck between a rock and a hard place. That the Bank of England, that's for sure. I don't know where they're going to what monetary stimulus you do. You know, typically inflation mandate to fight inflation, you raise rates. The UK economy, as we know, has got its problems of its own.
In terms of going forward, do you think we're going to see continued negative news flow and perhaps the edge being taken off the markets?
I think that's nicely put. Yeah, maybe the edge being taken off. I don't think we're going to drop hugely. I just think the market is looking fully priced, and we are slap bang at the start of earnings season. I think these earnings seasons certainly fourth quarter earnings out of the States is crucial.
And we'll take our direction on the local market from what we see.
Exactly, and as we have been doing for the last couple of months, we are following the US tick for tick. I think we've certainly outperformed in dollar terms. We are getting a lot of flows. The rand is behaving more like a commodity than a pure currency with the deficits that we had. So it's I think more of the same. These commodities will add a little bit of buoyancy to our market.
Naspers today pretty close to the bottom of the top 40. I don't have all the numbers here, it appears, but down 2.5%. Any particular reason why Naspers is coming under pressure?
10-cent downgrade this morning, I think, was out of UBS or Credit Suisse. We're getting a lot of downgrades and a lot of upgrades coming through sort of fast and thick at the moment. Certainly, they actually cut 10 cent to a sell, which is quite interesting. Contrasting views. A lot of people, as we know, that 10 cent makes up a huge chunk of Naspers.
No, it's about 80% of NAV.
So has it run hard? Yes. That's another stock that's up almost 100%. So 10 cent, ironically, trading, I think, on a forward multiple of 40 or 50 times on the Shanghai index. Someone pointed out that Bidu and its competitors traded 100, so it's actually not that bad value.
And we did think that after the Google debacle that perhaps 10 cent would benefit to some extent. Of course, Baidu, you mentioned, will be the main benefiter if we do see Google pulling out of China. Yeah,
look, it's probably still, believe it or not, there's, if we do have a little bit of consolidation, I think we'll definitely get some sector rotation. I think, the platinum stocks outperformer again today. The plat sector, some of these resources, I think people will, and fund managers at the start of this year, if you follow what some of the big PMs are doing, very cautious. The likes of Tiger Brands, the likes of British American Tobacco, you saw today, big moves, and I think people have to put money into the market at the start of the year.
All this excess liquidity.
And certainly looking at the broader market by looks of things.
Look at this. Aspen is up today almost 2.5% at 69 Rand 81. This is a stock that ran 117% over 2009 and it still has upside. Is that being fueled by anything?
I think you nailed on the head. It's liquidity. There's a lot of people still sitting with money on the sides. Everyone's been speaking on this for the last few months. They've all missed it. They've all been, sitting going on holiday in December, for example. Everyone left their desks. Impala Platinum was trading at 190. It went to 220 last week. They've missed 30 Rand. What are they going to do when they come back to the market? They're going to have to, the mandate, you have to put money in. You've got some hard questions. A lot of people missed this market last year. They missed a lot of the bounces from March. Now they have to chase some prices. And I think I would be on a similar sort of vein as them. Do you chase Impala Platinum up 30 Rand in 3 weeks? Or do you rather go for something a little more defensive? Tiger Brands with a decent yield, as you pointed out there, some of these pharmaceutical stocks, typically defensive. So quite interesting to see where a lot of the flow of our local money is going.